I'm just checking. Yes, we're live. Welcome back to Love and Law. My name is Virginia Warren. I'm a lawyer and conflict alchemist and co-founder of the organization called Lawyers for Love. At Lawyers for Love, we see that the legal system in its present form uses fear-based techniques to solve problems. It says, love thy neighbor, else we will punish you. It acts as if you still need a parent. Lawyers for Love say to solve a problem, you need to shift to a higher level of consciousness than was used to create the conflict. That consciousness is based in love, and it says, love thy neighbor, and if you can't, we'll show you how to do it. In other words, we're teaching self-regulation. This is what we call lovers of the essence consciousness, or Leotech for short. In these live broadcasts, we're showcasing amazing lawyers globally who are bringing their own particular style of love into legal practice. Today, it's my great pleasure to speak with the remarkable Ritu Goswamy. Ritu chooses to bring love into law because of the perspective that love can be a vehicle for change. Ritu believes that laws bring equality, and when laws don't work like they should, lawyers challenge them with love. Ritu started by taking a holistic approach to lawyering, looking at all the systems that clients interface with when they have a legal issue, and then began to coach lawyers to be more holistic. Now a leadership coach and DEI strategist, Ritu is changing the legal profession to be more aligned with the love we had when we started. I absolutely love that. Ritu is a trainer in the areas of lawyers' productivity, competence, and mindfulness. Ritu is also a best-selling author of the new Billable Hour, Bill more hours, be more productive, and still have work-life balance. Also, the holistic lawyer, use your whole brain to work smarter, not harder. But we're all excited to read Ritu's next book, which will be released this summer, entitled The Lawyer Leader, Serve Authentically, Find Peace, and Create Change. Now, I absolutely love the idea of authenticity, and we'll get to that a little bit later on. So welcome, Ritu. Firstly, I'd like to say, yes, a big welcome to you, and it's awesome to speak to you in person. What I'd like to know is, how did you get into law?
Good question. It's nice to visit that, right? Why did we even do this in the first
Why?
place? You're so young and optimistic. So, yes, I knew that I wanted to serve, to serve others, and the law I was drawn to it. I felt like using my privilege of being an educated person who likes to solve problems. I like speaking, I like writing. It was naturally a good fit for me. As you mentioned, in law school, I saw that it was a little different. I saw that what I was expecting was not exactly what was being taught, and so it was a little shocking. So while I was in law school, I thought of this holistic model. I went to social work school while I was in law school. I don't know if you know that. So I started law school, and I decided I needed a more holistic perspective. So I also did a master's in social work at the same time, and that helped a lot. And I don't talk about that a lot, but I think it has been a forming experience for me. And then, I realized that if we used law, this problem-solving vehicle, with this holistic perspective, which kind of means looking at the whole thing, but kind of like backing away, getting perspective about what is happening with our clients, with society, with institutions, then we can actually make bigger change in the law, but also with our clients and also ourselves. It can be a transformational alchemy. I know you like to use that word too.
Yeah, that's my favorite word. And that's it, isn't it? It's the whole person, and it's remarkable that you really perceived that when you were in law school. So do you think that the social work side of it, that part of your education was really beneficial in bringing that into the legal space, or was it something within you already?
Probably both. And for people listening, it was a long time ago that I went to law school. Over like maybe 25 years ago. So I think
it's amazing. Yeah, it's amazing you brought it in then or thought of it then, because really, that's a lot. That is a long time ago to be in this space.
Yeah. I think there was always something in me where I was curious about the world. And at a very young age, growing up as a child of immigrants, just seeing how they saw the world, the country, and I knew there was something more. There was something bigger. And I do say this a lot, that social work teaches you to kind of zoom out of a problem. There's always a problem, right? There's a conflict, and you do conflict resolution. There's some issue, and social work school helps you zoom out, but law school is where you zoom in, which is good. It's good to focus, but then we lose sight about a lot of things, and I think that's what causes a lot of the problems in law. So
absolutely. Oh, well, absolutely, because the conflict itself is about the whole person. And as I've liked to have said, we've got, we only deal with, we don't deal with any emotion in the conflict. And of course, how do you have a conflict without the emotional part? It's really half the human dealing with half the problem. And that's where I didn't see it worked for me at all. So it sounds like you're seeing the same thing. So a holistic basis. Now, how do you see an holistic basis? So we're bringing love into law now from that point of view. How do you see that on a practical level, bringing love into law on a daily basis?
Great. So love is the opposite of fear. And I think you're right that the legal system, all systems really, have been created based on fear. And I think it's because humans have been operating from fear for a while. And so we're shifting into love. I think that's the revolution happening right now. Everything is shifting to love. And then we have these broken systems and we're trying to figure out how to change it. So to me, fear is about division, fighting, winning, losing, adversarial. And then love is the opposite, more collaborative, more tuning in, working together, finding solutions, looking strategically, trying to get to agreement. Yes. And I also think that love is the holistic, like looking at everything. Love is love, right? So love is hard to quantify or hard to pin down. And so when we look at love, it's more expansive, and fear is restricting,
contracting. And that's a funny thing. Lawyers for Love have given love a definition, because we know in the legal system there is no such thing as love. It's not used, which I think is amazing. I mean, because that's who we are fundamentally, is we are love, and we've created all these rules around ourselves to create an identity. So I have to be this or I have to be that. But love, we say, is a state of being, not a doing. There's the doing word love, but from this perspective, it's a state of being without fear. So you remove all the fears that are on top of yourself, and then all that's left is love. And this is good. We're going around having created all these fears and trying to fit into society. And I think this comes back to when we're operating from love, that's when we're being authentic. And this is why I like your new book idea, that the lawyer leaders serve authentically. What does that mean to you? Tell me about that.
Yeah, I'll tell you all about it. But also I want to also tell you to look at The Holistic Lawyer, which is my second book. And it is all about what you're talking about. It's I said, use your whole brain. I look at brain integration, because what happens is when we're not looking at the emotional, the limbic, we're not using our limbic brain, we're pushing it down. Then we are in flight or fight. We become more aggressive. So I talk about that. I talk about emotional intelligence. So everything you just said. So they're basically levels. New Billable Hour is more about mindfulness, self-care. Then level 2 is The Holistic Lawyer. And then level 3 is my new book. So it's The Lawyer Leader. My subtitle is Serve Authentically, Find Peace, and Create Change. So once we find the love, right? And there are many people doing it, and you're interviewing many of them, and more people are coming out of the woodwork, which is amazing, worldwide. And then what do? We have to lead, right? Like if we are ahead of others, we have to lead. That's how it is. However,
way showers. I like to call them way showers. Yeah, we're showing the way. Just by
first
being
we're seekers. We're seekers, and then we're way showers. Exactly. And especially for the younger attorneys, the new generations who are more open to love, and we will preserve what we have, but also help it progress and evolve. And so the leadership books out there are a little bit fear-based. I think the traditional, it's kind of skill-based, I should say, right? Like do these things to be a good leader.
Or else.
And also elicit fear in your followers, right? Like that's a leadership model, a very traditional leadership model. And when we went to law school, like a teaching model, like fear. So to bring it to
Take
our
power.
theme.
Yeah,
The
take
lawyer
someone's
leader
power.
authentically is coming from love, is coming from yourself, is coming from a healing perspective. And so authentically, there are 7 principles in the lawyer leader book. And the first principle is authenticity. And you'll appreciate this. I don't tell a lot of people, but the 7 principles, 7 lucky number, correspond to the 7 chakras, which are the energy centers in our body, in our energetic body. And our root chakra, our first chakra, is about safety, is about self-love, survival, about not having fear, the opposite of fear, which is love, right? And so that is authenticity. If we can feel safe to be ourselves, then we can do anything authentically, especially lead and be lawyers from this authentic place. So in that principle, I talk about imposter syndrome a little bit differently than I think science says it. Science says it like, oh my gosh, there's this thing, imposter syndrome, and like everyone's suffering from it. But I kind of want to empower everyone who feels imposter syndrome. I do too. Like it's a very natural thing, is that we feel like imposters because we are. We are taught to put on this lawyer mask. We are taught to be someone else. That's how you succeed. That's how you lead. That's how you lawyer. Like you said, like, you know, how to, like, you're an identity out there, this lawyer identity. And so you were holding on so tight. And then over time, you feel like you're an imposter. you feel like, wait, I'm not this person, because you're not, right?
No.
And we can't hold on to it. We can't. And so authenticity is about feeling safe to be ourselves. And that is different for each and every person. So it's a journey.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I think when we have come back to love, it means we're dropping the rules that have been created by the tribe. I say the tribe created the rules, or we created the rules to stay safe in the tribe. So we did a good job. We said, okay, well, you want me to be this and you want me to be that and you want me to be the other thing, which is not authentically me, but I'll follow your rules because that'll keep me fed and clothed and safe and all those things. So then you go out into the world and you're still doing that and it doesn't feel right. And that's why you feel like an imposter, because you were born as love, you were born authentic, and then, you know, it's part of the game is what I see. Anyway, it's the game we play as humans to have the experiences, to have the emotions, to have the limitations placed on us so that we can find our way back to love again. And that's, but as you're saying, perspective, each of us has a unique perspective. If we're all the same cookie, we've got to say 1 box of cookies where no one gets a different flavor, you know, and like we've got to be all the flavors. We've got to bring everything to the table. I am you, you are me. You share with me who you are because that enriches my life. This is what it's about. Just start being you and not what someone else says you need to be.
Yeah, but it's difficult. It's very challenging. And I think it's very challenging for lawyers. So I am a lawyer and I work only with lawyers, and people are like, but everyone has this problem. I'm like, yeah, but lawyers are very unique. And I think our brain has been wired in a certain way that's causing a lot of damage, mostly to the lawyer. And I also think what's great as lawyers is that when we can be authentic, though, we can change the world. We will be leaders and way showers for our clients, for systems, for, you know, the law is so powerful. It's such a powerful profession, and unfortunately it's gotten some bad reputation. But like, if we can be authentic, we're really making a difference on so many levels with so many areas of the world.
Yeah, you know, and that's so very true. And I think you are so right. Lawyers are placed in the best space for this because we are taught perspective. We have to see it from our client's point of view, from the court's point of view, from where all the evidence comes from, all these different things. We are placed in a perspective, but we're looking at it from a risk management point of view. So we're always finding danger. Where is it unsafe here? Where is it unsafe there? And then it's our world as lawyers becomes unsafe because we're just seeing danger everywhere. And that's not healthy for the lawyer because, suddenly it's just like, oh, no, everything. If you look, we know that we're the worst client for ourselves. As soon as we go in, we have our own legal transaction, we're finding everything that could possibly go wrong with it. And you think, what is this? Whereas, you know, and when you're dealing with your client, you think, oh, no, it's fine. You know, we just do it like this and this and this. But but because we're trained so very well in fear, I think you're right, that we have a very special sort of limited ability to expand our idea of conscious or of love because of that. And I think we've got to break that mold somehow. And perhaps for you, working in social work and seeing the big picture, the whole human, might have been a great tool for you to write all these books coming on now, these steps of how we move into the next phase. Because I see it the same as you, is that we are past, I think particularly with lockdown, everything, it taught us what really a closed structure and closed system is, and you're not free in that. Well, I say the legal system is not being free. There's no freedom in it. There's no flow. And this is just a reflection of who we are as a society. And we're all saying, no, we don't want that now. So that's the shift to love is got to happen. It's got to happen for us to progress and evolve as a society.
And I agree with you. And happening on an individual level. So that's what I was saying, that if individually the lawyer can make that shift to love, that will have repercussions out into the world, and on small levels and bigger levels, because if law is making society what it is, and it's based on fear, if we just bring in a little bit of love, I think this, everything shifts. And so if we can bring that to ourselves as lawyers, so that when we're talking about authenticity, it's just like a little more, can you be a little more of yourself? Can you get uncomfortable in a different way of showing up for yourself?
Yeah, and because the thing is, and this is where I see it, is that as soon as one lawyer brings a little bit more love into their environment or into just themselves, it's all about be the change. I wholeheartedly agree with Gandhi's statement on that, be the change. Because as soon as you raise your consciousness, and that is simply by dropping a fear, raising the highest consciousness is love. And so the less fears you have, and I know that sounds bizarre, but that's another big story. The less fears you have, the closer you move to love and authenticity. So when you're doing it for yourself, you're actually doing it for the entirety of the consciousness, the collective, because we're all connected. We are all one. And so if I'm doing something for me, or even if I'm helping a client bring themselves, just help them shift through a fear, because I'm helping them raise their own consciousness. And now they're doing it for themselves. I'm not doing a thing. They're helping me. And so we're all benefiting, and it's amazing. And this is how lawyers can be helpful to others. And it's really you feel it as a lawyer. You feel that come back to you.
Yes. And that's the alchemy, right? That's we're raising consciousness. But it goes the other way too. If we do it for ourselves, then the client will feel it. Because you're saying you're doing nothing, but you're a way seeker, right? But also using our, with my coaching clients, there's all these areas where fear is brought in, what we've been taught, our client is afraid. So that can bring up stuff for us. And if we can keep clearing that out, unclogging or unveiling, like they say in yogic philosophy, there are these veils that are covering up our love. If we can just keep peeling it away, then we are showing the way for others. So many, others, infinite.
Yeah, the fears, I think the fears are the veils, don't you? I mean, the fears they're not real. They're something you have manufactured. I might be afraid of, say, public speaking, for example, and you're not, say. So where is the actual fear there? It's a fear I've created, because if you're not afraid of it, then it's not real. So this is what we're doing, a lot of us, is it's these veils of illusion. They don't really exist. It's just a belief, a limitation we've put on ourselves based on that we think we're not good enough, we're not valuable, and these sorts of things. And that's where the fears are created, I think, that the limiting belief.
Yes. But it feels real, because we've literally wired our brain. But as you know, the brain is plastic. I think about this every day. When anything comes up, or I'm like, oh my gosh, what does this all mean? I'm like, the brain is plastic. Like, we need to identify the fears. Also, for everyone listening, like we know it's challenging. Virginia and I know, like, because if you don't even know you have the fears, it seems so daunting. But when you realize you have one, that's like great. And we should celebrate that, because that's an opportunity to look at it, let it go, figure it out. I mean, just awareness is higher consciousness. So just being aware, okay, I'm doing that thing. and empowering ourselves instead of blaming something outside of ourselves, because that's never going to happen.
Oh, that's so true, because that's what the law perpetuates. Let's blame the other person in the equation here, and it detracts from what's really going on with you.
Yeah.
Why am I reacting? What's the negative belief I have to actually even believe this situation is causing me some detriment or giving me a negative energy?
What so the liability, right? Also, what do I need to be whole, right? That's a very good concept in the law, but what do we really need? Maybe we're moving so quickly that we don't know. Like, sometimes we've been wronged, like we're all doing the best we can. So if we've been wronged, or if there's been some injustice, what do we need to feel whole? And what does the lawyer need to help the law be more whole? So I think that we're in an imperfect society. We want that to be, but it's not that way yet.
I totally agree. Yes, the perfection of society is moving. We're moving toward that, but we have this bridge to cross before we can get to the other side, and that's part of the journey. It's part of the evolution, and if we're using conflict as a catalyst for our evolution, I think we can all benefit from that perspective. And as you say, these beliefs are unconscious. That's why you don't know that they exist, but the world is your mirror. All the people around you that are triggering you, they're there for you. They're players in your game. And if you just celebrate that, and it's very difficult because we are programmed to find risk. Someone is doing something to me to make me unhappy. That's why I'm unfulfilled. I'm having this unhappy life because of everybody else. Rather than, it is a choice. It's all a choice. But to bring that darkness into the light, it takes a little bit of self-reflection and the ability to be honest and brave and to say, I see what's happening here. If I accept this about myself, then how do I feel? And I always go back to what I say is, how do I feel? In every moment, how do I feel? How do I feel? How do I feel? How do I feel?
Yeah.
That's my mantra. How do I feel?
A big thing with my clients are what are we doing to perpetuate it? So if there's the big, I think what every lawyer talks about, conflicts with clients. Oh, this client's overstepping my boundaries. Oh, this client is wanting my attention. And so then when we break it down, it's like, did you even establish boundaries? Because none of us really learned, right?
No.
Learned how to establish boundaries, communication, all these basic skills that we never learned. And so we need to be gentle. I think also lawyers we're hard on everyone else, but think we're hardest on ourselves. So when we see a conflict, it's like, what did I let this happen to me? And I'm working on this right now. It's layers, right? I'm going pretty deep. Like, what am I allowing people to do just because of my conditioning and what I think people pleasing, perfectionism, a new kind of mask, like letting people only see certain parts of me, right? And so when we do let people see other parts of us, it's very scary. And so there's reasons why we're protecting ourselves, like you said. But when we do it, eventually, for everyone watching, eventually you'll see the payoffs and the shifts will happen in yourself and in the relationships around you, what we attract in, our relationship to the law. So I don't know if you talk a lot about, like, when lawyers are unhappy, often they're like, I'll just do something else, but we're the same person. So until we figure that out, everything is going to reflect, like you said, it's going to be a mirror. So when we see it, it's our opportunity. When we see something that we really don't like, what can we do? Baby steps with ourself in looking at ourself.
Yeah, giving ourselves, and I think when we see somebody else becoming authentic, it gives others permission to do the same. And this is really, really beneficial, I think, to the lawyers out there that really want to shift and really want to practice more authentically. Be the caring lawyer. People are afraid of, many lawyers I talk to are afraid of the emotional connection because we've been taught to be so disconnected. That they get dragged in. Yeah, the word boundary is a good one. Yes. And it is learning that. But I also see it from the point of view that when you are able to work with yourself, dropping your own fears and raising your consciousness, then because it's all frequency, this is what I'm teaching. It's all energy, all frequency, everything.
Mm-hmm.
That if you're in a higher frequency, the lower energies, the lower frequencies actually can't affect you, but you can hold space then. And the people that are feeling those lower negative energies feel you as this loving space, but it doesn't really then affect you because you've done the work for yourself. This is why we need to do the work for ourselves first as lawyers before we're working with a client. And as you say, creating your boundary. And really, it's an energetic boundary. It's not, oh, we can't go across here or talk about this or that. No, it's just, I feel in a different energy space to you right now. So I can hold the space for you without being triggered or affected or feel upset. Of course, we ebb and flow, but because that's energy. But being in that higher space, I can pull myself back to the higher energy vibe very quickly because I've just practiced it. It's just practice, repatterning, because we've been given all these patterns as children, and boy, we were good at them. And they were unconscious, so we didn't know they were there. But when we've learned what they are, and I see you, I brought you to the light, good, I can deal with you now. And then you can slowly work with yourself and hold the space more for yourself and then others, I think.
And everyone has their own conditioning in many, many layers. All of our brothers and sisters. So we have to be aware of that too. Yes. That everyone's coming from their own space, and in their time they can be ready to process. While you're talking, I was thinking that it's such an exciting time that, yes, we're talking about like what law is based on and how law is mostly, but we know that this is the time of innovation and change, and lawyers are doing things differently. They're not necessarily operating in fear. They're doing more collaborative stuff, more leadership, more education. I interviewed lawyers for my book, and you interview lawyers here. Like, people are doing things, and there's so many more. I think that it's only headed in that direction. And so for the new lawyers, and I think there's space for everyone. So the new lawyers, I think, already are innovators because that's how they grew up. Like, I don't like it, I'm going to make something new, right? But I think for the older or the more experienced generations, I've been looking at all the generations.
They're kind words.
But I feel like we have a place, and that's really my audience for this book. Of course, it's for everybody, but as we get older, how can we be leaders in these systems that we know so well? It's kind of like we were saying, like a way seeker, like we can show the way out or show the way to the next step, because it is very, very scary. We've been around longer. We were trained in a different way in the past. And so we don't need to really change anything, but kind of just shift. And get in. I think the good work, and that's the work I'm transitioning into, is working in systems. Like because we're not just going to break all the law firms, or, we have to fix them or we have to help the law firms evolve. So what can we do a little bit differently?
Yeah, I think, yes, if anyone can bring that little bit of love in to their practice, that makes so much difference. People don't realize what an energetic shift that is of itself. You don't have to say, I'm stopping being a lawyer and all these things. So many, this upsets me that so many lawyers that have trained their brilliant minds move out of the profession because it's too harsh. And no, you can bring love in. It's okay. You can do that. I've got people that like to Reiki their files and things like that. I love that. That's just beautiful. Just bringing yourself into your practice, and it's okay. So before we close out, tell me if you've got any tips, those little tips for those lawyers that are thinking, I just want to bring something in just on a simple basis every day. What would you say?
So the most important thing is that we don't have to do it all, and we don't have to do it perfectly. I think with my clients that I coach, it's often like, it's too much, so I'm not going to do it at all. And so the main tip, and I'll give another one because people are like, yeah, but what do I do? And the main tip is to start small, start very small. You can check out the new Billable Hour. It's about billing yourself 1 hour per day. Start with yourself. Start with billing yourself at the smallest amount. How can you treat yourself as your first client? So this can be through meditation. It can be through exercise, through morning routines, all of the things we know are out there about self-care, right? But self-care is basically about more than just caring about yourself. It's a caring about how you show up in the world. And the more self-care, the more mindfulness you bring into your life, the more you will be you, and operating at a higher frequency, like you said, and being able to access more of yourself. So what, I guess my practical tip is find something that you can do and you can be successful at. I would like to look at the billable hour. So like point one, for 6 minutes, what can you do for 6 minutes? And start there, be consistent
That's
and commit.
beautiful. That is so beautiful, because when you're doing something for yourself, as we were just discussing, you're doing it for the collective. So instead of being hard on yourself and rejecting yourself, because then you're rejecting everyone else as well, turn it around. Yeah. And people don't like this love yourself, but it is,
it's
call it
self-love.
self-care. So call it self-care if you want to. But it is, that's what it is. And if you're caring for yourself, you are caring for everybody. And people don't understand that really yet, but that really is it. So as soon as you start shifting around, you'll see the shift in people. Yeah. And you only have to start, a little bit a day, a little bit. That becomes a weird new habit.
Yeah. And when it's something nourishing, you won't lose it. It'll stay with you.
It does, doesn't it? You're just reprogramming the old self into a new self, and that's absolutely beautiful. And becoming more authentic. And we need you to be authentic. We need people that are themselves.
Can I offer something to your listeners?
Yes, please.
So we just talked about the new billable hour, and I used to give it away for free. You can get it anywhere you buy books. But if people email me, it's Ritu, RITU at newbillablehour.com. We can maybe put it in the notes.
Yes, I have it in the notes.
Yeah, I'll send you a PDF of the book because I want people to catch up with all the
that's
books.
amazing. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. I'm sure people can get some really good value, and I'm sure not just lawyers that are listening to this. This is, I know, lawyers do think a little bit differently, but lawyers are humans as well.
Yes, exactly. I write for lawyers, but it's really for anyone.
Yeah, that's it exactly. It's the same as my book. It's the same. It's written for lawyers, but it's for anybody because it really is beneficial. So thank you so much. I really appreciate that. So send Ritu an email, ritu@newbillablehour.com. The email is below. You can connect with her also with Ritu on the website. Where are you? RituGoswamy.com?
Right now, it's my name. Yeah, ritugoswamy.com.
Yeah, to connect directly. Otherwise, we thank you so much for being with us today and sharing the love, because we love love. And thank you for the gifts you're bringing to the world. We appreciate it. Take good care of you, and we'll see you all next time. Bye now.
Bye.